Good morning. I think we can kick off the webinar. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to join us this morning, and to have a walkthrough of LastPass. As a solution providing the need for secure passwords, and how it impacts different businesses. Yes, so we will have a quick introduction into what LogMeIn and LastPass as a solution, and discuss the trends and the challenges in the identity market and password market today. So LogMeIn, in totality covers three major areas around unified communications and collaboration. And within this, we have GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, which is a product that we're actually using right now. We also have Jive. And then the other focus area is customer engagement and support, where we have Bolt 360, which is a chatbot. And then we have Rescue, which is a remote support solution. And then under the focus area of identity and access management, we have LastPass and Central. So a key focus for this session will be LastPass as a product. So LastPass is actually being used right now as a trusted brand, and it's loved by both personal and corporate users, and has 13.5 million registered users currently, and about 50,000 companies currently. In totality, the password management tool this year has actually covered and protected over 500,000 sites. So this is actually a product that is under constant development, to allow for exponential growth, which is just expanding beyond password management and into identity and access. So we know that today small and medium businesses are actually continually facing challenges around the evolving nature of the modern workforce. You have the bring your own application policies that are now commonplace in workplaces, and it gives a challenge to IT teams, because these are applications that are outside their control. Because how do you manage something that you didn't even know that was there in the first place? So passwords, we are aware that they continually are a challenge in terms of how risky it has become, because we from research have found out that 80% of the breaches actually caused by weak and reused and stolen passwords. So this creates quite a concern in terms of how this passwords can be managed and handled. You also have a challenge with the changing jobs that have become commonplace. We have half of the workforce is now millennials and the younger generations, which now results in frequent turnovers and cycles of employees. So IT teams need to find a way to quickly onboard, commission employees, and decommission the same employees in a quicker time frame, protecting the assets of the company even during these transitions. Again, with modern technology, you have that this workforce is now no longer confined to the four walls of an office, and protecting the company data on public networks is a constant challenge. So for IT, they're really looking into How do we handle this disparity of tools, that should be helping them uh, in managing this quickly changing employees who are no longer confined to their offices? And you have to have multiple tools or array of tools to be able to support these particular users. So in a nutshell, you need to have something that centralizes the control for the rapidly changing customers, rapidly moving workforce, to be able to give you a proper visibility without increasing your costs. In the same breath, you have an issue where the same IT team is still bombarded, with the old techniques that have been there in the past decade, whereby they're still supporting help desk tickets, and at the same time trying to find out what is going to work for them as a cybersecurity strategy. And you still have a challenge with getting good IT security talent out there. Right. This definitely has a pressure element that provides tension between the IT teams and the employees. Okay, there's a demand to quickly protect the infrastructure, quickly protect the information and intellectual data that belongs to the company itself. At the same time, trying to make it easy for these customers or these internal customers to actually be productive with the tools that you're actually engaging with. When we bring it even closer home, we can take a look at the loss and breach that happened to Karim, whereby they lost 14 million user records out of a total possible 20 million records. That's more than just about 70% of the user data that was compromised. And the content and classification of this data was not specific to just credit card details. It went deeper into the behavioral trends of the users who are actually using this taxi hail service, Karim, and understanding the generic location of their travel, the frequency of the travel, uh, to understand who the purchasers are, in a family, to understand, the school routes that are being used by the children of these users, to see, if there's corporate travel. I mean, this is all information that was actually leaked out. So if we correlate that with a different report by IBM that puts the average cost of a record at $163 per record, then the direct loss to Karim and all the users that were involved is actually at about $2.2 billion. This is a huge loss just by a malicious attack on a business. The direct cost that could have this, if we take 50% opportunity cost out of this, we end up with about $1.1 billion actually lost just because of this breach. That is a huge loss. That is a loss that could cripple any organization. So what are we saying? We're saying that we want to be able to have the right tools. Okay, we're not saying it's completely bleak. We're saying that we have strategies that are able to actually handle this, because we understand 93% of the cyber attacks can actually be prevented with the right tools. And because we're now addressing and drilling down to the key focus areas where we see a lot of these challenges coming in, we're seeing that 76% of the overheads of technical teams are actually bogged down by users struggling with logins. So you do need an all-in-one solution that is able to give you ease of use, at the same time, securing your environment. And the goal of this particular tool is to be able to offer simplified access to your end users, along with visibility and control over who is accessing what, when, and from which location, to ensure that your company is actually protected from cyber security threats. So to be able to achieve this, we have integrated different key areas around access, whereby we're securing every point with a very simple solution, authenticating the same solution such that you now have proper security that is multifaceted and providing multi-factor authentication on it. And then it also is able to unify and provide a simple, visible, and easy to use solution. So this is the current lineup in terms of the product, and the product keeps evolving, getting better and better depending on what is actually happening in the market, and depending on different user requests that have been consolidated into the product. So as a roadmap, this is actually happening right now. We have the product, it is live. It is combining the ability to provide an enterprise password solution. It is able to provide adaptive multi-factor authentication. It is able to provide and connect single sign-on applications, and this is actually moving from pre-July 1st. We were only having 66 applications. Currently, the list is growing. We are at 1,200 applications, and this is just by way of ranking that applications that are actually able to handle the technology that supports single sign-on. And it's actually offered in a very simple way to be able to provide a structured way to actually get on board this particular solution. So LastPass is able to provide the enterprise, which is the flagship product, has been trusted for quite a while now, and it is able to provide market-leading password management together with single sign-on for 1,200 applications. It is also able to offer integration with identity providers that have been previously integrated in many enterprises. These are like Active Directory from Microsoft. You also have Azure AD as an available identity provider. We also have Okta. The solution also has very comprehensive security policies that govern the behavior either of the login, the logoff, the complexity of the passwords, what to do when passwords do not meet a certain standard, from which location you want to be able to log in, and this are just some of the policies that you are able to have there. Then within the same product, you're able to have adaptive authentication across all access points. This actually combines biometric and contextual factors such that your business does not have to compromise security for convenience. You're able to protect the legacy and cloud and mobile apps and VPN and email applications with this particular solution. It also provides granular control that localizes the different features in terms of geographical location, IP addressing, the different devices that are actually accessing this. So by design, you have it that the biometrics, which are actually more secure in terms of identifying the particular user, actually never off a device itself, because we're also using signatures to be able to ensure that we'd never compromise and share the biometrics that are actually used to secure this particular information. Now, when we look at the human factors that are available, we have ability to use the fingerprint, ability to use Face ID, ability to use voice, ability to use the iris scan, and then to be able to use a pattern that is drawn on the phone itself. Then we have the hidden factors, which now actually define the adaptivity of this particular solution, that it is able to create trends based on location. It is able to create trends based on hardware signatures. It is able to create trends for the one-time passwords. Okay. So now with LastPass identity, you're able to unify visibility and provide simplified control across all the users, so that now you have all-in-one control for passwords across all your users. You have a way to provide quick authentication, and then it gives you flexible integration so that you have a unified face and solution within your enterprise. And then it gives you very easy onboarding techniques to be able to provide secure access across your passwords. And it goes deeper with this by being able to provide the personal space in terms of users are able to create their personal accounts that could also be linked to their enterprise accounts, such that you're able to understand the password hygiene of your users outside your organization, because we are aware that the passwords that are used outside your organizations could be the same passwords that are being used within your organization, and this is where it poses a huge threat. And so LastPass is able to combine this, either having it within the enterprise itself and having it also in the personal space. So you ask why, the key differentiators for LastPass. We're providing a secure tool to be used every day by your employees. I will secure your networks. I will secure your VPN. We'll secure your legacy applications. We'll be able to secure your cloud applications. We'll secure your email solutions. And then we'll work with your existing identity access management tools, as well as your single sign-on tools as well. In the absence of a single sign-on solution, LastPass itself already has a single sign-on solution that you could integrate easily with your current applications. So we're simplifying, and creating security through adaptive authentication, combining both the hidden factors and the human factors. We're providing, advanced control with granular policies that can easily lock down, which we shall see in a short while. And then it's a very easy tool to use. A lot of effort has gone into the user experience and the ease of use of the application itself to take away a lot of the pain points that are experienced when you want to apply a security solution to your organization. And then just to summarize it around intelligent security to protect every access point with LastPass identity. You take away your risks, you simplify your access, you strengthen authentication, and you secure each and every password in your organization. So from here, I'll move into the a demo just to kind of showcase what we've actually seen, and to kind of bring it home. Okay, so to access the solution itself, visit identity.lastpass.com, and then this gives us a landing page to be able to authenticate this. So I'm going to do this in two ways. First, I'll show you this side of things, and then I'll hop onto the device itself that is actually going to authenticate this session. This is, of course, multi-factor authentication that is enabled here. So I'm going to be demonstrating that right now. So it's pushing a request that is actually happening on the device itself now. Okay, so the countdown is actually happening on the phone now, and I can verify. It shows me where I'm logging in from, where I'm, my location, the time, and I will accept this. And then, sorry, we'll need to do that again. Okay, so it's pushed a secondary location, a secondary attempt. Okay, again, detailing where I'm logging in from. Okay, so I will accept this, and then so I've accepted by push, and then I have to provide a pattern, could be anything. Okay, then it will tell me that I have successfully logged into that particular session, and the color coding changes to blue from amber. So we'll hop on to the session to see that now we have visibility into that particular session, and my LastPass session is actually authenticated. So we will get into the admin portal. So because this is where you have the bulk of, just a second, I need to log into a different portal as well. Yeah, so this is the main landing page of LastPass that details the different resources that I have actually shared here and save the passwords. I only need to authenticate LastPass, and then LastPass will remember all the passwords for me. From here as well, I'll be able to have a visibility of the linked account. So I have a personal linked account that correlates the passwords that I have, in my personal space, and correlates that with my corporate passwords. So by doing this, I have a combined security score of 60%. So it shows there is some improvement, some areas that I need to actually work on. The kind of resources that it actually shares and is able to capture is around it provides me the usernames that I have saved, the licenses that I have saved here. It's also able to show me what I've shared in terms of passwords with a different team. Okay, so say for example I want to share a team with a marketing team, password with a marketing team, and I want those users not to be able to have visibility of the username and password. I can quickly do that using this. We're able to create secure notes, and this suggests ways to share data that is actually used by different users. You can be able to share server credentials, create the host names, the usernames, and the passwords, and be able to share this with a grouping, okay, of different folders, groupings where you will define which particular team you'd like to share this particular resource with. The same is also available for SSH. Okay, so you want to share an SSH key, you can be able to add it there, configure what the private key is, what the public key is, the passphrases, the host names that it actually belongs to, and be able to have this pushed onto your environment every single time that you need to use this particular SSH key, or you need to adopt it to gain access to a particular area. This is particularly useful with VPN authentication, where you can be able to actually provide this. Okay. Then when we'll have a look at the different options that we're able to have here, you can be able to generate a secure password, one-time password that you need to use, and to be able to have that same password shared or generated for a key application, you can be able to adjust the complexity. These are just tools that are available here. You can be able to create different variables to create a strong password and be able to copy it across, specifically for perhaps legacy apps where you need to generate unique passwords. The good thing about it is you can generate a very complex password, but with the LastPass configured, you'll be able to have LastPass remember that password for you. So you don't need to worry about it, but you have a secure password. Then you can also be able to generate a one-time password and have just a one-time password access generated for something else. Within the account settings, we have different ways to create trusted applications and trusted devices. That these are devices that we have chosen to trust. You can have devices that you have trusted and created and said, okay, fine, for this particular user, I want this particular device only to be able to access LastPass. And I've trusted a different PC to be able to authenticate against. When we look at the multi-factor authentication options, we have quite a number of options that are available. We have LastPass as an authenticator. We have Google Authenticator, we have Microsoft, we have TOFA, we have Duo, we have Transact, we have Grid, and we also have the actual devices. You have the USB keys from Ubico, as well as the um, the product from System. You can also be able to incorporate a smart card to be able to authenticate that particular session for you. And then when you're actually looking into having different multi-factor authentications, we do have uh, LastPass MFA, okay, which is the option here. When we hop onto the administration console, we have different options that are available to be able to integrate and have proper visibility of your enterprise. We have the policies that I had mentioned previously, where you can be able to restrict access by country. You can be able to have policies around the account lockout, enable mobile logging, have the pre-shared and pre-created shared keys. You can be able to block access to the dark web by blocking Tor as a protocol, and then to have the ability to have parent multi-factor cascading into the personal account if none exists for the personal account. This is very useful, whereby you can have different strategies for access to the personal accounts, because remember, we want to make it simple for the end users to use, and also have control for the IT and IT security teams to be able to apply the policies that will eventually drive a good security score for the organization in terms of security and cyber threat protection. So there is a complete listing that you can really drill down to in terms of the features that are limited, password behaviors for multi-factor authentication, and then you can be able to have a way to audit and understand if those user accounts have been compromised or could be compromised, and then you could be able to create very easily actually new policies based on the listing that is there, and you can have a declaration to have inclusivity or exclusivity of a certain user grouping. You can add some users and take out some users, and give you flexibility of applying the same policies. Around directory integrations, like I had mentioned, we're able to integrate with Active Directory by use of an AD connector that just quickly defines the OUs that the organizational units that are being used within your LDAP, be it Microsoft Active Directory, be it Oracle LDAP, or any Linux LDAP server. We're able to quickly integrate that and have the SAMSL authenticated applications being provisioned out of there. The same applies for Azure AD. So for any Microsoft Azure applications, you can be able to run the provisioning tokens in there. And the same applies for Okta and OneLogin. That's around the options. We also have the enterprise options that now globally define what will work, what will not work. And then we do also have the availability of the single sign-on multi-factor authentication sessioning, which I think that I have actually gone over. So basically, we are able to provision single sign-on applications so that with LastPass, you're able to use um, the ability to just present the username, and LastPass will act as the single sign-on for 1,200 applications. So this is the 1,200 applications that I had actually mentioned that you can be able to reference and add, and this cuts across Office 365, Dropbox, um, uh, Cisco VPNs, uh, all the GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, LogMeIn portfolio products are all integrated here. You have Splunk, access to GitHub, different and popular single sign-on applications have already been integrated. And to be able to integrate your application, there's a complete guide for custom applications that allows you to integrate the single sign-on portion of it. And with that, you have a comprehensive solution around your users, how you have actually grouped them and allowed this particular type of access, and to be able to give you a holistic view of your password management. Within the reporting section of it, you're able to have the visibility of the LastPass activities that have actually been captured for the admins, for the, was there a breach? Did someone try to gain visibility to a user password? How were the logins actually done over the past number of days? And you're able to keep a tab on actually what is happening in your particular environment. So LastPass is actually a product that is continually being developed with identity as a real focus, to be able to geofence and localize the visibility of that particular organization, to give you really a cohesive solution around you have complete visibility of your password strategy. So that will bring an end to the demo session. Thank you for your time today. I think it's been a great session.
Thanks, Paul. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.